about
You know, another
we're
wheel
about
in the, yeah, I'm gonna.
Yep. Hi, Sean. Yeah.
I hate it. I thought we were past this.
No, we're not.
I thought
bad
we
at
were
this.
done with this.
We're not bad at
Alex.
this.
76 episodes in, and we're still doing
I
this damn
thought
shit.
I'm so unprepared. I
sign of a
accidentally
good
closed the
DM.
recap.
Alex, look what you did!
I literally went to click on it and I just closed it.
Wow.
Good. Good, I
folks,
flustered him.
We are on top of things here.
Yeah.
So profesh.
Professional indeed.
We've been doing this for a long time.
For 76 episodes.
76.
Yeah, 76. We are
Oh.
3/4 of the way to 100. How cool is that?
A little more.
Actually, a
than
little
three
more than
quarters.
that. Yeah.
What are we gonna do for 100th episode? Whatever.
We're gonna
Thank you, Clay.
I
we're
might-
gonna
was just
kill
about to
more
ask the
than.
same
I'm
question.
gonna ask you to make brownies.
I'm down.
All right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've got my
I'll
shit
eat some
together.
brownies.
Got my shit together.
Can I have some
Jeez
brownies?
Do you want to have a live,
Oh yeah.
a live actual play? In person.
All right, everybody.
Sorry.
And we just eat brownies.
Actually,
we just
pretty
eat
cool.
brownies. That's the whole episode.
It's live, but it's just us sitting at a table eating a
Eating
whole tray of brownies.
we
We're
call
not
it
in
episode 100.
character. There's no dice.
We're
It's
just
like
in the
a-
kitchen, and I just keep making brownies the whole time.
Yeah, he just keeps bringing new trays out. We just keep eating it,
We
and
have,
it's just like it'll be like a Yule log. It'll be
Yeah.
8 hours long.
we have the
Um,
Clayton Cam making brownies, and the rest of us enjoying us.
Yeah. Every now and then being like,
Yeah.
good brownies,
These are good brownies.
good brownies. All right, folks.
Mine has cashews in it.
All right, folks. Let's play D&D.
I like my clothes.
All right. On the 18th sunset of Elmune gloomed the drear shadow on a Vensdog. Last we left off, the Wayward Five defeated an incursion of strange, spatially displaced skeletons from the Chromatis hinterlands. At the close of the fight, Cal's cursed wound split open and he declined into a hallucination-fueled panic. Curon was able to calm him and help him to rest below deck. As the day passed, Captain Alberic took extra precautions to protect his passengers and his ship, the Storm Witch. Through his druidic magic, he infused the ship with a pass-without-a-trace spell, that simultaneously kicked up the winds to put distance between you and the creatures. In an effort to return a bit of peace, Alberic and his crew set their guests up with a lovely dinner. Over the course of this journey, some of you shared inquisitive conversations regarding the cosmos, deities, the fate of the world, and, of course, the fishing industry. Huron sent messages to both Senric and Valen, both far to the north. He directed Senric to connect with Kalra, Wiswick's,
We lost
What was
Stefan.
We lost that.
Don't worry about it.
oh,
Keep
I
going,
was
Sean.
like, all right.
Sorry.
He directed Senra to connect with Kalra, the Magister of Illusory Magic at the college in Caerdolan. As this city, Caerdolan, has become increasingly dangerous for the friends and allies of the Wayward Five, as General Kinsley seems to tighten the grip on the Quintarchy. Huron also checked in with Valen to inquire about the work in the Ruination. Progress is slow, but with the help of Elspeth and Terramron, Valen may be able to accomplish more. They've discovered several ritual sites that appeared to be failed attempts at recreating the ritual that bound Lu to timber. For now, they continue to try and barter peace with the wolf tribes. The days went on as you all began to feel a bit more peace aboard the Storm Witch, save the pain-burdening Cal. On the final day before reaching Vermilcia, you gathered to discuss your plan. You would deliver the governor to his estate, resupply, and head for the Fields of Glass to find the oasis pools from Curon's visions. Oriel promised he would aid you in whatever way he can. Though he is powerful, these are not his lands. Soon enough, you find the Storm Witch entering the Apollo Lake, which opens up to the Great Canal of Vermilcia. You enter the city and find a beautiful scene of red brick, white clay, and golden colors, modern structures mingled with ancient, and a bustling population. Though the days are dark, the cold of the long dark has not taken root here yet. As you make port in the massive canal, you see the majesty of the Flora Amphitheater, the same arena of Cal's infamous duel. You quickly brought Cal to the healers. I keep looking over at You quickly brought Cal to the healers within Oriel's estate. You had the city to yourselves for the afternoon. This abundance of safety and free time suddenly brought you to a busy apothecary. Maximilian's vials, yes, that Maximilian. Here you met Raphael Flamans, an elderly Leonin that shared knowledge and trade with you. In purchasing the ingredients for a greater memory restoration spell, Raphael mused about a theoretical plane of memories, which inspired Curon's hopes of restoring Scarlet's lost memories. With promises of quests, books, and research, you left Raphael to return to the governor's estate. Here, you brewed the memory potion, and curiosity getting the better of her, Scarlet drank this potion, even though you did not believe that it would work. In that instant, she felt and remembered every joy, pain, and sorrow of the last 6 months. But despite this wave of emotions, two figures still stood with blank faces, hollowed out and lost. we really lost.
Yeah, we did. It's rather unfortunate. Might have to fix these. I can't very easily, but.
Oh, geez, it looks like he's
Oof.
gotten some.
Oof, magoof.
Technical issues, folks.
Yeah. Perhaps we should
Just take a quick break.
take a quick break. Yeah. that's
Yeah,
what I was
we're gonna
thinking.
take a quick break, folks. Hang in tight, real quick, so that you don't see half of Wiswick.
After
Bye. See you later.
faces, Wiswick's faceless shoulders.
Faceless shoulders.
Yeah, but we will be back as soon as
In
we
a second.
figure this out. Welcome back, everybody. So we're going to press on temporarily until we can figure out if Stefan can get back on. There seems to have been some power loss in his house and some internet cutting out, which I'm assuming probably has something to do with the power loss. So we're not sure if he'll be able to jump back in soon, but as soon as he can, we will bring him in. We'll go to a quick break, bring him in, jump back into whatever scene we were in with Kieran suddenly showing up. But where we left off, though, was that the group had just witnessed Scarlet drink a greater memory restoration potion that Timber had brewed with ingredients from Maximilian's vials. Fortunately, the potion had no effect, and Scarlet simply had a supercharged memory of every moment from the last 6 months, which I'll say with the actual effects of the potion, Scarlet, it's essentially as if you have 6-month-long keen mind for the next hour. So if there's anything that Scarlet wants to try to remember that's specific from the last 6 months, the next hour, you'll be able to do that. Down to the time of day. So think about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Think about
yeah.
that great power you now have.
Anybody else wants to find anything out? Let me know.
But I'll say, for the sake of losing our cleric for the moment, after you all gave her comforting words after it had failed at the end of last session, you all parted ways briefly to go to your respective rooms within the villa, maybe to explore the villa. For it is early. It's probably mid-afternoon, approaching early evening, or late afternoon. You do have dinner arrangements with Governor Oriel tonight, but you have plenty of time still to talk and do other things. What would you all like to do?
Timber would, after getting back to his room, shortly after coming back from the apothecary, that's what we're calling it, where we came from.
The Apple Store?
Yes, the Apple Store. I need a new dongle for my computer, because that's all I sell. So after buying a couple of dongles, I'd like to go find Governor Oriel.
Okay. You look about the manor. It's very beautiful, but in a very static way. There's not a lot of evidence of anyone spending time there or living there. This is clearly like emptied and a setup for him to come here. There's no specific accoutrement of his. Perhaps some things may have been sent that might be in his room, but for the most part, this just looks like a generic villa. It's quite large. It has a large atrium that has a courtyard. There are, as you were told, bathhouses and the dining area where you had just given Scarlet the potion, and then your rooms upstairs. After wandering around for quite a bit, you eventually find a servant who can direct you to Governor Clay. You are led up to the 3rd floor, actually, where your doors opened and you're led into a bedroom / office. It has a lovely domed ceiling that is, as opposed to the stained glass of the Quintarchy up north, this has beautiful murals painted into it with painting skills you've never really seen. The level of aesthetics and realism, it's think Renaissance paintings, depicting several different enduring histories as well as mythologies. But you would see Directly across the room, Governor Clay is scribbling on some scrolls. You see there's a person standing next to him who looks like a tall Fearbulg. A very skinny Fearbulg, though, compared to the ones you've met before that are usually quite large and muscular or rotund. This one is almost strange in the sense that looks like you almost don't recognize it at first. You think that it's a sick gentleman because of the pink nose, but they have a chin beard, a neck beard, if you will, with curly hobbit-like hair with those cow ears coming out from behind it. They're wearing long green robes, and they seem to be handing. This person looks really irritated with Oriel, and it looks as though he's just like handing Oriel all of the documents that he was supposed to be working on and signing over the last month. And Oriel's just sitting there like, and he kind of looks up and sees you. He goes, Timba, please, come in, please. You must excuse us. You must excuse us, Claudio. I must talk with Timba. This is urgent, correct, Timba? Urgent business.
That is correct. This is urgent.
All right, Claudio, we need privacy. I will attend to these after supper tonight. And you see the Fearball goes, that is what you said earlier. And if I didn't follow you into this office, you would not have done half the work you just did. Please, at least finish one more, and I will go and leave you with your friend. Stark contrast to the Fearballs you've met before, who are always the friendliest people. This is a stern administrator, I'll say. But he finishes up, and he snatches the scroll and kind of walks past you, head somewhat upturned. And Oriel looks to you and stands up from his desk and walks over, clapping his hands. I cannot thank you enough. The doldrums of administration, especially backlogged administration, can be crippling.
It seems that way. Governor, how are you doing?
Well, I am adjusting. There's a lot of things that I need to organize in a very short amount of time.
Sorry, not you, Sean.
No, I know. It was a mixture of me actually pausing in character and getting slightly distracted. But well enough. How are you, Timber? I know it's some time since the incident, but I'm certain that you may still be some recovery to be done besides just Caliph.
I have been feeling a lot of guilt as of late. I know it's not in my control, but boy, it's quite the burden. I don't have any sort of payment or repayment for you, for all that you've done for us. But I did make you this. And Timber's gonna pull out the potion of longevity.
Okay. He'll kind of look at it with wide eyes and be like, well, as I said a week ago or so, or 2 weeks ago, I require no payments, no thank yous. I did what must have been done.
Even so, this is a gift that take it, please. It's for you. I made it specifically for you.
He kind of looks at you with a kind of a twist of the head and a smirk, and he'll accept it, and he'll look at it and say,
You've aged. I know you have. This will help. Give you some years back.
say you don't really feel old until you have to start taking elixirs to feel better.
No, it's not painkillers for your aching bones.
I must say, a rapid onset of.
It's actually just stem cells from all these babies that I murdered.
Oh, goodness. I must say, it has been tiresome. I've appreciated this offer, Timber, and I graciously accept.
Good. Good. And Timber's like, I guess, yeah. Thank you for letting us stay at your estate as well. If there's anything else you require, just let us know.
Certainly. If Claudio Vermilcia out there doesn't take up too much of my time, I'm certain I can come up with something for us to talk about tonight at dinner, at least. Again, I appreciate everything that you and your friends have done for me. And truthfully, if half of what you say is true, then I have served something greater than myself, hopefully.
Hopefully, you can continue serving as well.
Hope that as well.
Let me get back to my group. I'm sure they want to go shopping some more.
As you turn to step away, you open the door, and he calls out one more time and says, "Timber."
Yes.
I know the pains of guilt over past sins. And if there's anything I've learned from you all in the short time I've been with you, is that there is always a future. Always a chance to make amends and do right acts.
I hope that opportunity is presented to me sooner rather than later. I'd rather not have another episode. If that's even me having the episode. I don't know how it all works. But Oriel, do you know of, this might sound weird, but any maybe unbreakable handcuffs or shackles?
I have heard of magical shackles. Artificers have constructed them, mostly used to contain magical beasts. And as he says that, and immediately he's like, kind of thinking like, oh yeah. If you'd like, I can look into it for you.
That would be appreciated. If you knew of any, or I know you were talking about some auctions in town that we could, some goods like that were being presented.
Well, yes, of course. There is the within the Versian vicinage, within this neighborhood itself, in the Ember Courtyard, they typically will have auctions.
But then again, who would be selling that there? I mean,
it would be questionable, but if I'm being completely honest with what I've heard of the vicinage auctions in the Ember Court, there's some rather peculiar objects that get auctioned off there. But of course, there is a surge of artificers within the town. I can put my people on it for you.
Thank you. I'll see you at dinner.
Yes, you must go. Claudio will rip my head off if I don't sign more documents. Deputize more servants.
You ought to make a stamp. It'll save a lot of time.
Never thought of that. Well, go enjoy the estate, take a bath, enjoy the food. Do as you wish.
And Timber turns around and walks out of the room.
You see the tall, staunchy, slim Beerbog looks at you, just sort of, and kind of just straightens his robes and steps on in. All right, Curon, to fill you in, you guys took a break after Scarlet got sad, and now you're doing your own thing or coming back together to talk. So,
Okay.
Timber, you spoke with Oriel. Rest of you, is there anything you'd like to do at this point?
It's the same day, correct? What time is it?
Correct. It is, I'd say probably around 2:30, 3 o'clock. You have plans to sup with Oriel tonight. But otherwise, you have the afternoon still. Yeah, it's probably around 3 o'clock.
Sean, just as a Timber's gonna go back to his room and read his new book until dinner time. I don't know how many hours that will be, but
I'm gonna say that dinner time's probably gonna be around 6, so you could, if you do it undisturbed, you can get 3 hours of reading in.
sweet.
I'd like to. I think we talked about a little bit of this off stream, Sean, but just to take up some time, Wiswick took all of the ores that he had in Curon's pocket dimension and excavated them using transmute earth from the geodes and got a bunch of gems that he would probably take this time to convert into gold.
Yes, we spoke about that after last week's session, if you recall. And I believe you got 90 gold out of it.
I had 180 gold pieces worth of gems, and I had 20 gold worth of geodes, and I believe that the geodes turned into 80 gold pieces, so it
Correct.
turned into
Yes, correct.
270 gold
That
pieces
sounds correct. Yes.
total. Okay.
So yeah, you could definitely spend some time going out into the Blythe to find some jeweler to start doing some good old-fashioned trade-ins. You would probably go to the Orange Way, where there are a lot of luxury goods, or you could go to the Blue Crescent, where there are some component shops that would buy those as well. But overall, you would be able to come back with that 270 gold pieces.
I feel like I probably have a lot of variety, so I probably went over to the orange section that you were mentioning earlier.
Yeah. Excellent. Anything else anyone would like to do before dinner?
I would like to talk to Curon before dinner about what just happened. So I don't know if we want to stay there or if we want to go to one of the rooms. What do you feel like?
I imagine Curon is just doing, cleric things. I was actually gonna. He might actually be preparing things to sanctify an area of Oriel's estate. So, I don't know.
So how about this? Scarlet is gonna go take a bath, and she's gonna go have some me time.
Okay.
And then when that's done, she'll go find you.
Okay.
Okay. While you're doing that, I'll say, Huron, a servant would come over to you at some point and bring you out to a space, where they would say, Governor Oriel has declared that this space here should be allowed for you to create a sanctuary to your goddess. Anything that you need to complete this task, we can help provide, perhaps. And you would see they've led you out to the back area of the estate, where there is this balcony that comes off of the second floor, that has a half circle arch essentially. So 3 pillars that they have a half circle attached to them that comes off of the wall of the estate. It reminds you somewhat of the open aesthetic of Elysian homes. It has ivy growing on it. It's a nice space where you can clearly see the stars and the moon at night. And you have this space to turn into your sanctuary. It's about, I'd say, just for your creative needs, it's about 20 feet wide.
Okay.
And it goes out about the widest part of the half circle of the balcony is about another 20 feet.
Okay. I imagine that Kiran is going to start a nondescript ritual. And the intent of it is to I imagine he'll use his staff, and his thought of sanctifying an area to Ilyuvania might involve trying to will the growth of a how are they pronounced, Sean?
Telvid Hama.
Telwood Hama, thank you. To whatever effect, if it's able, but at least trying to pour his energies into this. Of course, he'll ask for some incense because that is a cleric's go-to when doing anything. So he'll light some incense around this lovely area, make a nice little divine ritual circle, and with one arm out, the staff in front of him, start doing cleric shit to sanctify.
Excellent. So that spell, does it have a specific amount of time you have to work on it, or is it just a...
Well, so what it is Word of Recall is you must designate a sanctuary by casting this spell within a location, such as a temple dedicated to or strongly linked to your deity. There are none in Vermilcia, as far as I'm aware of.
There wouldn't be, yeah.
So Kiran was attempting to make, to the best of his ability, something that's linked to Ilyuvania.
I love it. It takes a little while for you to set up the sanctuary first, and then of course the spell itself is not too complicated. But essentially, you have the staff out. You're doing your meditations, and there's a certain point when almost like you feel like your hand is guided by Ilyuvania to the staff itself, where you have these different parts of the staff where the wood of it has these lattice structures growing off of it. And as your hand is brought to it, you see it almost seems to grow out to your hand and then break in the center with a kind of dusting of lunar spores. And then you have it in your hand and you kind of hold it out. And you see it just sort of floats, almost as if it's lighter than air itself. And then you see it break apart to spores itself that then rain down into the area. You see they latch into potted soil for, different decorative plants around the room. And you can see it just sort of begins to slowly grow and latch onto the walls and come up and then out and latches onto the base of the pillars and the kind of small retaining wall of the balcony. And it's not completely overrunning the place, but you can see they are just sort of slowly growing. You see the little lines of the lattice structure meeting each other as these small Telvid Hama pillars start to take over the space, creating a comforting, dull glow, much like you would find in the center of a village in Elysia.
Then he's going to use a little bit of his staff's magic, have some fog of the moon gently cascading around him, like a fog machine almost, except for its purpley smoke. And then he's going to, more for his own sake than anyone else's, minor illusion, shattered moon, just outside this little half circle area, and just kind of sit there in meditation as he just watches the Telwood Hamas grow. And yeah.
And that, Scarlet, is where you would find Durham after you've taken a luxurious bath in the bathhouses and the estate. You would step out and you would see this space that looks otherworldly to you. You've never seen Telwood Hama. You've seen kind of like something that looks like it growing on Curon's staff. It's a fungus that grows, and when it grows, it creates a lattice structure that looks like several lines connecting in a almost molecular structure, and they're just sort of gently growing across the space. They give off this beautiful dim glow, and Curon has masked the area with this purple mist that seems to gravitate towards these as well in a symbiotic way. You would see him sitting there, cross-legged, staff on his knees, one hand holding it. You can see this shattered moon that he's created in the center of the space. It almost feels like this area is already dark, like twilight, even though it is still late afternoon.
Okay. I will watch for a couple minutes because I don't want to interrupt. And then just, watching and seeing this come to fruition. Huron, this is beautiful.
Yes, the powers of the Crescent Heart are quite magnificent, aren't they?
Yeah. And if you turn around, you'll see Scarlet left all of her stuff up in her room. She let her hairs down and not in ponytail or messy bun like she's had it, air drying. And she's just got just her basic clothes on. She does have the dagger that she made on her hip. She never goes anywhere without that, but just relaxed look, even though she's maybe not relaxed. But yeah. So, what's all this for?
If you recall, I mentioned a way of getting back after we've accomplished our mission in the Fields of Glass. A spell bestowed upon me by the Crescent Heart. I simply needed a sanctuary strongly connected to Iluvania to allow me to recall, and the governor has graciously allowed me to set up this space, though I'm not sure if he exactly knew what that entailed.
I don't think he'll.
No, it is brings a different type of beauty to this already beautiful estate. We are very lucky to have Oriel as a host.
I agree. Do you need any help? Is there anything to help with? Are you finished?
No, I was simply admiring the work of my beloved. Taking a moment before I might hop in a quick soak, if you will. This armor
Very
is
nice.
quite, moves at the chainmail that's been broken by someone. But yes, a nice bath, I assume. Any bubbles?
Were there bubbles?
No, unfortunately.
Bubble check.
Like I
No
said to
bubbles.
like I said to Timber, this space is not really lived in, so it's like the bare amenities that were here when you all got here.
Got it. Okay. No, unfortunately, but I was able to heat the water to the temperature I like.
I knew Wiswick should have taken that creation spell.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course, please. And he gestures to a space in front of him as if for you to join him sitting on the floor.
I will go over and sit down, cross-legged in front of you. She doesn't look at you right away, but just kind of like stares down at whatever is in front of her. And
I
her
imagine the
hands are-
staff is between us.
Yeah. I can see it. I like it. So she's looking at the staff and kind of just twisting her hands in her lap. Well, first of all, thank you for your help. Memory poke.
That was mostly Kaze, but of course, always happy to help.
I'll be sure to meet her as well. I still don't remember what I lost.
A simple potion seemed too good to be true, if I may be honest, though I had hoped as well. But the Leonin, Raphael, he did bring up an interesting proposal of sorts. Do you remember what he said about
Some sort of memories, like a plane with memories?
Yes. Yes. Can you imagine it? An entire plane where our memories live. I don't know if it's once we pass on, if that's where our memories go, if that's where our memories always are, and we simply connect to it through our minds from time to time to remember. The more I think about it, the more I have a feeling it's almost certainly real, or something like it.
Do you think it's possible to go there and get them back?
I think it's possible to go there. I will admit, getting them back may be difficult. We have no idea of knowing if they're there anymore. They could still be lingering somewhere in the Shadowfell, in some part of the Scathe Fume that wasn't totally destroyed. These are things that are a little larger than us. And of course, not that well known in these lands.
It's infuriating. I know I'm missing something, but I don't know what it is.
I am sorry, Scarlet. I can't even imagine what it must be like. All I can say is that together we'll figure this out. I feel heading to the hinterlands, where our plane is weakest, might be the first step in finding this plane of memories.
Do you remember what I lost? Could you tell me anything about it?
I don't know if it's my place to remind you of what you've forgotten. I can only tell you so much.
I think you've told me about one thing. Didn't listen
Yes.
to you.
No.
I stand by what I did.
And you're allowed to.
But I believe you. I believe that man meant something to me. I just don't feel it. And it's so hard to It took me a little while to believe you when I don't feel any attachment to that memory.
If I may, sometimes our memories live in here, he says, pointing to his head. But the memories that really matter, you can't take away. And they live in here, he says, touching his chest. Now, I don't know if I'm saying this the right way, but sometimes I think you remember too much in here and not enough in here, he says, first pointing to his brain and then his heart. Going forward, if you try to trust what you feel more and less of what you think you know, it may help you naturally. Not remember everything, of course, but remember those connections that no creature from any plane can ever take away from you. There are things that I think are just sacred to the individual, and no amount of magic, no amount of force can remove that from them. I'm not saying the memories of whoever are still within you, but those connections may still be there. What do I know? Kieran says as he cracks his back. I'm just an old man now, mumbling on about things that I think too much about.
No, I think you're right. It's been quite some time since I thought with my heart. I didn't let myself, and maybe the next time I meditate, that's what I'll focus on and see what
Yes.
happens.
I think that's a good course of action, my friend. Now, if you'll excuse me, this chain is starting to get a little heavier than I remember. I'm going to get ready for dinner. I look forward to seeing you again then.
Thank you, Kieran.
And as he gets
I'll
up,
help you up. I'll help
thank
you
you.
up.
Yeah, it's a sad sight as he starts to like lean down on one hand and like,
No,
thank
I
you.
definitely help.
And he walks off using his staff as a walking stick.
And I just kind of like watch him leave and just stand in the sanctuary he created for a couple minutes, and then I'll go somewhere.
Scarlet, as you're waiting, you're watching Kieran step away, this older and somewhat weaker Kieran, though still Kieran, and still someone who is a pillar in your life right now. You notice the room dim as he moves away, and the moon, the shattered moon, vanishes as the minor illusion goes away, and you're left in a somewhat dark space, as it seems like this twilight shadow without the moon just feels a little dark and eerie. And for this moment, the space feels alien, beyond what you first saw. And for a moment, Kieran feels a bit alien. Not like a stranger, but otherworldly. But the day goes on. Is there anything else anyone would like to do before dinner? With all the things that y'all have done, there's not much else a lot of you can do. But if there's anything small, or if you'd like to get together before going to dinner.
Yeah, I think Wiswick would probably group up at Huron's new sanctuary and offer to add some, floral arrangements if necessary. I've got this wand of flowers. I don't know if there's something that you want to just spruce up a little, Huron?
Oh,
Any
sorry.
recommendations?
Kieran had left to go get washed up, but I guess if he's back now,
Yeah, this would be later. Like
okay.
12 hours later.
Please, my friend, go right ahead. Whatever you'd like. I'm sure your touch will only add a flair of the creative genius within you.
If I remember correctly, Ilyavanya liked Cosmos, right?
I always thought of her more of a tulip entity, but I'm sure Cosmos would be wonderful as well.
Well, I want to get it right. What type of tulips? Yellow, red, white, purple, green? The ones that have little teeth?
There's tulips with teeth. Oh, I'm not sure Ilyavanya would much care for those, but the tulips that I remember were a deep purple, always dripping with sweet nectar.
You had to go and pick the complicated one, the hybrid flower. All right, I'll make it work.
I want blue roses. Blue roses are her favorite. Can you do that for me? Can you get that 1% chance?
Yeah, sure, why not?
All right,
Just let me
so-
grind for a few weeks. No big deal.
You all just don't see Wiswick for some time.
As he time travels to get his...
But Wiswick, you absolutely can take some time to invest in adding your own touch to this sanctuary, as this is as much all of your sanctuary as it is Kiron's, I suppose, as you are all champions of Ilyavanya.
I've got another god. I just don't know who he is yet.
I've got a few too. Do you want to compare?
Gods, the trading card game of Aradun.
My trump card. Both a god and a demon.
All right, but I'd say as you're all sprucing up, it would be approaching that 6 o'clock time. You can collect timber and the scarlet, and you all can head to dinner if you'd like.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right, so you go to that same room that you gave Scarlet that potion, that has the long table in it, that has the kind of open pillared space. You see there's several torches and candle lights filling the room. There's a delicious meal prepared there for you. There is a vegetarian option for Kiran, of course. And it is a combination of a lovely roast lamb with several lovely sides of antipasto sort of combinations. You've got some dolmas there. There's a whole lot of small plates, we'll say, and then a sort of main meal. But Oriel welcomes you in. You see, it's just you and him. And there's very few servants in this house. There's maybe 2 folks you see, and as soon as they put the food down, you see that Oriel immediately offers some food to them, and then sort of says, "Go home for the night. He will take care of the dishes."
I was wondering who was going to.
That's actually why I brought you. That's why I brought you all here.
So that you could do the dishes.
May have made some promises about vacation time for my staff, and this place is a little dirty. Scarlet kind of got water everywhere from the bathhouse. But no, it is quite nice. It's it's a warm night. As Oriel welcomes you all. So, enjoy, eat to your heart's contents. I have put in some requests for you all to hopefully help you in your journey. Requests also that I have talked to some of you about. I don't know when you plan to leave, but I should have some things ready for you by late tomorrow. One being, at the very least, I can confirm is a new wagon. New wagon that is much larger, can hold more things, and will come with 2 draft horses and supplies
Oh, wow.
for your journey.
Thank you.
Those sound wonderful. Thank you so much, Governor.
Looks so
Of
very
course, it's the least I can do.
Kieran, we're going to have to name them.
The horses, of course. We'll find good names for them. Ooh, until then, that reminds me I should find something to help Rocco be a little more protected in the heat of battle.
Hmm.
He nearly went down on me. He nearly died on me. Back in Patronage. Are we doing phrasing still?
Get him some sugar cubes. He'll be fine.
Bjorn, if you're interested in any sort of, I don't know how long you're staying, of course, but I can always inquire about combat riding lessons. If that's something you're interested in. Trainer.
Well,
Kieran, I'm also familiar with a certain blacksmith who seems to be struggling recently. Maybe we can create some sort of arrangement with him in order to create some protective gear, possibly.
Oh, you know, a blacksmith. That's fantastic.
looking over at Scarlet. Oh.
Yeah. I'm right here.
Oh, yes. Can we get Scarlet a forge? She can make Rocco some armor, right? You know how to do that.
Yeah. Sure. I can figure it out. I don't think I've ever made horse armor before.
You haven't, and it's also not just smithing that would be required for
It's
it.
a lot of
It's
leather work.
A lot of
Yeah.
leather work that would go into it.
I could help with some of it.
Now,
More likely that a leather worker would be making it and commissioning a smith for the pieces that they need that are metal.
now, Kieran, we'll probably come back here to Vermilcia.
Of course.
So if we
I was
want
going to say,
we could put in your order, and then by the time we get back.
right. It's a very good point, Timber.
There are some fine trainers in mounted combat here, as well as smiths who specialize in creating armor that works well in synergy between the steed and the rider. You know, you may not be staying long, but as you said, you may be returning, and I'd be happy to arrange such lessons.
I think let me sleep on it. We have quite a laundry list of things to get to in the future, and while I am humbled and appreciate the offer, I don't know if riding lessons is really something we can set time aside for.
Think you could get me a pair of boots with one of those spinny things on the heels?
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I can look into it.
Never mind. Don't worry about it.
Are you trying to wheel your way to class in high school?
No, I'm talking about the cowboy thing, Alex.
Spurs, I believe he was.
It's not what I was thinking.
We all were thinking about Heelys.
Yeah, I was thinking Achilles, yeah.
We're talking about horses. It totally made sense to me, Clayton. Don't listen.
Thank you, Stefan.
They just think that you're immature, so they thought Heelys.
Let's be honest, though. Wiswick would totally order something like that.
I mean,
Oh,
if
yeah.
Healy's existed, hell yeah, that sounds awesome.
Huh.
Well, especially he'd be like, "Oh, I'm on the surface. There's so many smooth ground that I can use these Heelys on compared to the rocky Underdark."
I would just have the golem push me, and I just Healy everywhere.
Or Heelys for the golem.
Mm.
Now we're talking.
That's kind of what his Earthwalk is, though.
Yeah, I was gonna
It's
say
kinda
he
pretty
just
much.
slides anyway.
But anyway,
Does he just become a car? Like he just makes all fours? Like
Pretty
just
much
his
becomes a
wheels?
car.
He's a transformer.
Whoa!
yeah, like the way I imagine it is almost like the it's like a transmute stone situation where it almost like,
Right.
becomes mud for a moment and then leaves a trail of it hardened.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, of course, I'm happy to provide any such services for any of you if there are things that you're interested in learning about, training in. I know that I've heard that you've already ventured into the Blythe. Plenty of gifted artisans there and guilds. In the future, when you return, if there is time, which, I suppose the end of the world is not going to come overnight, but I do know that it is busy work. But I'm happy to help.
We all appreciate it, I'm sure. I speak for everyone when I say we appreciate it very much, Clay.
Yeah, Oriel, what's next for you? I mean, we've got this grand adventure and stuff, but are you gonna stay in town? I mean, I know you're busy and all, but like, what do you see yourself doing in the next couple of weeks?
You see, he kind of sits back in his chair and just takes a real disappointed chomp out of his lamb chop. And he'll look to you like, I suppose politics. I was sent here to assure the Enduran lords of the Empire's good graces and goodwill regarding Endurus's desires, or if the war is successful.
Are you like some sort of political hostage? Are they gonna marry you off or something?
No, I don't believe so. No. I am not a hostage. I am not a hostage. I am free of my own will. But I have a duty to the Empire. I've sworn oaths, and I will fulfill those duties to the best of my abilities. Even if it means...
Marrying a hot princess?
I suppose that is part of it sometimes.
You dog! And he punches him in the shoulder.
It's at this point that you notice a significant lack of guards. In the sense of any other time you've been around lords or people of significance, there's guards always, and a guard would have probably punched Wiswick in the face if this was any of the northern lords in Oxland. But Oriel kind of laughs it off and says, "Well, not all of the business in court is the whispers and the gossip. There's important meetings with important people. And, fortunately, it is all dreadfully boring, but necessary."
Would you have preferred to stay in the front lines?
And you see he kind of sits forward, the candlelight lights up his face, and you don't notice much difference in his age.
Damn it.
Yeah, he let me just double check that real quick.
I think it's...
Yeah, he... Oh, actually, no, I
6.
forgot about the +6.
Yeah.
I forgot about the +6. So I'll take that back, actually. He looks... His hair still has the streaks of gray in it, but his wrinkles look significantly declined. defined. Like, he looks younger. You could noticeably somewhat younger. One might say 7 years younger.
I figured you rolled a 1.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that sucks if you only de-aged 1 year.
Damn it!
I forgot about the +6. I have always had a certain comfort amongst soldiers. And I never had a taste for politics. Understood it, and I learned much about it in my youth. But I had a hotter head in my youth and a desire for glory. And I now don't seek glory or renown. I just seek to help people. And in the moment, the front line seemed like the place to do it.
Well, I understand your wish to help. I feel like ending this war would help the most people, instead of continuing to fight it on the lines.
Yeah, take it from a band of adventurers that have been almost around a pretty good portion of the continent. There's poor people that you can work to help and do good for anywhere you go.
Just
There's plenty in
you-
Kedolan.
Can one of you who spoke just now give me a persuasion roll with advantage?
Stefan?
I'll do it.
-1, baby.
I'll do
Okay, I'll
it.
do it.
I'll do it.
I'll do
I have,
it.
wait, I have a
Re-
+6.
Oh,
To persuasion?
Yeah.
What are you?
I'm very persuasive. Didn't
Yeah,
you know?
high constitution, high charisma.
what is this?
Get out of here.
Christmas? What is this, Christmas?
Am I rolling? Am I
Yes,
rolling?
please.
Yes,
And
go ahead.
please.
This is not a, like, Scarlet's not, like, persuading him. It's the group persuading him.
Yep.
I just want
Well-
to allow you guys to
And
have
she's the icing on the
Yes.
cake.
She's got an
11.
11.
11 with advantage. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully speaking, the Wayward Five have never been that charismatic.
No.
Yeah.
No. I don't even know why. Why do I have proficiency? in
It's
this?
like,
Wiswick tries real hard.
I mean, I love
Just
how
try.
many charisma rolls Wiswick makes for how
Oh,
low
yeah.
his charisma is. All right, so he, the discussion of battle has dulled his smile. And it was sort of a moment where you're talking about something and it was very serious for a moment, and you say what you say about the poor folk that could use the help in that ending the war. And you see he's just rubbing the kind of gray 5 o'clock shadow that now is kind of always on his face. And doesn't respond. It says, after a few moments, says, of course, war is should be avoided when possible. You've seen the court in Kedolan's doings. If I'm not mistaken, you have quite the history with General Kinsley.
Bastard of a man, yes.
So you know. My task is to ensure the seeds, Kingsley's conquest, magnanimity, and conqueror's instincts, is is not present in the roots of Endurus. I do not want to fight a war to free a land, to replace that land. The same oligarchs.
The current Duke of Honduras, is he a conqueror?
His family, the line of Lithonius, has a lot of blood that decorates the Red City. But Duke Swain Lithonius has suffered much at the hands of war. In the last conflict with the Empire, he lost a son, his only son, to that bloody conflict. Don't think he's a conqueror. I think he's an aging man who wants to see peace. But the structure of Honduras is still regressive. Their prosperity allows them to do better by their subjects. But the structure, the foundation is cracked based on exploitation. If that prosperity fades, as you said, there's a lot of people who will hurt first.
Well, change starts with one drop. It seems like that drop has already dripped. All we can do now is hope that the ripples continue to hold and bring about something better.
Well, we shall see what the other kingdoms do as this war continues. Tressian king is drunkard. Queen of Sverwold, from what we understand, there's been no contact with her court in months. And the Scythians. They're more akin to the Great North than they are to the rest of the Quintarchy. They've had rebellious streaks in the past. But we'd rather not fracture the Quintarchy. Cause more bloodshed. And he seems to be talking to himself right now. Like you're all kind of like, all right, like you'd understand, but like he's clearly not asking for advice on what he's talking about. He's just sort of speaking to himself in this moment. Well, great machinations of politics aside, you've all done me great service in safely escorting me south, and more so protecting me from assassination. I know that you did this in support of Caliph, Lieutenant Stormrain, to barter his services in your quest south. I'm upset to say that he will have to remain here for some time. His wounds are significant and he weakens daily, as if something is draining his constitution. The healers of Vermilcia are on it, and we have reached out to the alchemists of the city. I'm unsure when he will be back and ready to rejoin you.
I have faith that he's in capable hands. If anyone can figure out what's going wrong, it would be you guys. There's a lot of smart people in this city. Did you alert his, his commander or whoever's in the military here yet?
We have sent couriers to the garrison command here in the city, as well as couriers back to the front lines towards his commanding officers. And we sent couriers to Stormrain.
It'd be nice if he got a promotion out of the deal, you know what I'm saying?
And
he went through a lot.
I don't know.
I'd like to.
We all did.
If it were up to me, I would offer him much safer service in my own house. But from my understandings, knowing him, he seems to hold the same streak I had in my youth. An interest in surrounding himself with soldiers, not a politician.
I guess that's fair enough.
But as for the rest of you, you did this out of kindness, good grace, right action, and not patriotism or duty. And after what you've told me of your ventures and your goal, I have an interest in your interests. For your service to me, I will be able to spare a certain patronage of gold to you for what you've done. As I've said, my power does not lie here, but part of my power is here, and I shall award each of you 4,000 gold pieces.
Go, mate.
Goodness.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, Timberlake barfs up.
You all just, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You all just dropped so much food out of your mouths.
Yeah. Yep.
Or choked on your wine or drink or whatever.
Well, if you were able to supply us with that amount of money, that means that Oxland is poor. Most likely.
Or we just got a bad deal with bastard Kinsley.
Yes.
Which I find much more likely. Or is because we are so low of a level that the economy.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't exactly.
You may have noticed I have reduced the attention the Enduran Presidium has given me in this estate. I have transferred a lot of the wealth of the package, so to speak, they gave to me as ambassador into patroning you and your quests.
Well, we are speechless. Thank you, Governor.
Yeah, this will do a lot to improve my research. I have some big plans already on what to do with my share, and I'm sure that my friends here have equally, great aspirations, right, guys? Yeah?
I don't even know what to do with 4,000 gold pieces.
So we thank you, and if you ever need us for anything, I've got like this whole thing going on with a friend. I'm capable of using the teleportation circle spell. I know that you mentioned that there isn't one around here, but if you ever need something from us, like if you're ever in trouble or you're desperate or you need some sort of escape, just let me know and I'll manage a way to get you to someplace safe. Okay? I want there to be like I'm gonna invest this money in our own defenses, and I want you to be able to profit from that as well.
Trust me, Master Netherrock, I have no interest in profiting off of your ventures. I have an interest in what I see as some of the first honest people I've met in a long time, who show an interest in good works for the sake of the people.
Wiswick's gonna whisper in his ear, look man, just work with me. If you don't think you're gonna get something out of this, Kieran's just gonna give it all away to the next poor guy that he sees.
No. As I said, this money is meant to be used to better you, whatever is to come down the line. This money can be used on trainers to improve your abilities. This money can be used on setting up routes somewhere. It can be used for armaments, though you are quite armed. It can be used for all manner of things.
Oriel, you mentioned these trainers. What trainers do you know around here?
There are many talented artisans, there's many talented martial artists, war masters, arcanists, artificers, all sorts. If you have a vocation, an interest, something that you want to know more about, to learn about, this gold can go a long way. If you're trying to save the continent, the world, you may need to spend some money.
And some time, it seems.
Yes.
Unfortunately. But yes.
I've avasted wealth in my youth, and lost all that wealth. I avasted wealth in the empire. I wish for that money, that gold, that power. Go to the right things.
Well, thank you, General, for all of this. This is...
Governor,
this
I am
is...
not, as you would call him,
sorry.
the bastard.
The governor, not the general. I often get the... Anyway, after you just give us 4,000 gold. This is very appreciated. Right.
Yes. I mean, I can invest a lot of this into my magics, but I mean, the way you make it sound like we're gonna need this gold, and it's kind of making me second guess myself. I've never had to deal with this much responsibility. Do I save it for the people who need it when the time comes, or do I invest in myself, or?
Well, Vizek, why don't you and Scarlet look into tinkering? Maybe some artificing? She can make the physical object and you can enchant them. Have you ever learned about that?
Yeah, I mean, we do have the initial investment. I don't know much about it, but I know of it. Maybe I can ask Kaura to see if there were any books in her library that could help out.
Well, knowing the greatest wizard of all time, she was a pretty capable artificer as well.
You know, now is the time, and this time is Wiswick's time, and I'm rich, so you can't bring me down, Timber.
Scarlet would be like, she is kind of still, shocked. That's, I think, more money than she's ever had in her whole life. So, and then just like hearing all of this about like, I'm invested in you. You guys are gonna save the world. You're gonna do all of this. She just kind of shakes her head and just, I'm not feeling very well all of a sudden. If you'll excuse me, I'm just going to go lie down. And she's gonna get up and kind of just like go to her room.
Should we get this stuff in installments, or?
Should I have the healer check on her?
No, I think she's just a little overwhelmed with the events of the day. I don't know if you heard, we tried to restore some of her missing memories with a potion, and unfortunately didn't quite work as we hoped. With the addition of all this, from what I gather, it's a lot for a simple woman from a simple town. She's not used to all this.
And it's in this one moment in response to Scarlet and what you're saying that you notice that Oriel has been rich his whole life, and like his even in his wisdom that he's expressed, he is still quite privileged in this way. And in his mind, it was like, hey, bunch of money. Not exactly that, but I suppose it is quite a lot.
It may be more than just the gold, though.
Of course.
Oriel's thinking, I was gonna go on a diet anyway.
He looks at you all and says, as I've said before, and I believe you, Huron, understand this best from your time beyond. Mortals cannot rely on deities, but so too will gold not solve all of the problems of your quests. But I hope it will help.
I'm sure we will all find a good use for your patronage.
Wiswick's writing down things that he wants to buy on a napkin.
Maybe we should just spend some time to see what lies at the auction before we head out to the Sea of Quests.
That'd be cool.
I'll admit, I'm not quite sure what I could possibly use all this gold for. Finding a surprise may just a little inspiration, if you will, from the gods.
Hey, Huron, have you ever tried gambling?
No.
I'm going to pretend I did not hear that about my investments. But a few things to note for your ventures
I gamble
ahead.
every day. I wake up and look at your face, Wiswick.
Oh, shit.
When you leave, you're heading for the Fields of Glass. When you pass out of Endurus, first town, Brothras, is on the western shore, right before entering through the Gap of Glass into the Salt Flats. Salt marshes, small town, old dragonborn town occupied by a diversity of folk. Nephrodala, what it's called. I suggest stopping there first. Learn a little bit about the local environment, the locals. It's a good place to hire a guide to bring you through the fields of glass.
Is the cart going to be outfitted correctly to maneuver through that terrain? I'm not familiar with the exact, priorities, but
we've
okay.
spared no expense.
Great.
No, Kiran, I know you don't know what to do with your money. Yes. But this field of glass, we did learn that there are these worms that writhe underneath the sand, dirt, as well as these pools of water. Now, to not disturb these, or knowing this, maybe we should look into ways to either avoid the ground or be light on our feet to cause less of an appearance. I don't know how we can help that with a wagon or horse, but
It sounds like we can find many answers to these questions in this town of Nephrodala.
Nephrodala.
I'm
That's
just
the one.
all
Thank
I'm
you.
saying is that now that we have or in Vermilcia with all these resources, now's the time
Oh,
to start
yes.
speculating.
That
I will
makes-
say, be careful. There will be plenty of mercenaries selling their abilities to take down these whims. If you are to try to hire any of these whim slayers, do your research.
As if we need anyone's help.
Kiran, we probably do.
Yeah. With
My
guides
golem
and
has
everything,
tremor sense.
but
That'll be the
you-
biggest
what?
help, I believe.
This is
Remember
a
when
good
we
point
killed
with
that lava drake, Kaze?
yes.
We're the chosen of Ilyuvania,
Yes,
babe.
but that does. We also died. Like last week.
Yeah. Karen looks a little dejected.
Me and Scarlet will be fine.
Like playing food, just pushing it around.
Are there bushes?
Are there bushes?
Never mind.
From my understanding, there are thorn thickets in some parts.
That's not very helpful.
It's a field of glass.
Well, I am going to head to bed and take this with me, and so Governor, it's again, your patronage is. We cannot thank you enough. I'm going
Real
to go.
quick,
Yes.
did you think that he just gave us 4,000 gold
No,
coins?
no, that was like a piece of chicken.
Oh, okay, my apologies.
Like he just like had little
Yeah, you just
individual
had the
bags
money
for
right
each of
there.
you.
Yeah.
There you guys
I was
go.
kind of hoping for that, honestly.
No, he's not ostentatious like the general, bringing out little fancy chests to
Right.
give it to you.
We'll have a line of
Close
credit
enough.
opened up in our names.
I was gonna say.
Did Scarlett finish her plate?
Nope.
No.
I'm gonna grab her plate.
I just assumed she didn't, because I also assumed that she was like scraping the spices off of the lamb before eating it.
And Timber's also gonna put more food on it too. And then
And you see Oriel's just sort of like, please take as much as you'd like.
okay. This has been very welcomed. Have a good night, gentlemen.
Good night,
And
Kaze.
I'm going to go to Scarlet, but that's different.
Okay. You see Oriel kind of looks to the two of you to see if you're finished eating or not. And
Wiswick's kind of just like it seems like he's half finished with his food, and he just keeps he keeps getting lost in trains of thought. Like he's eating, but like he's just got like the fork stuck in his mouth, and he's like,
Yeah, he running through magical equations in his head over and over. Oriel will look to Curon. Curon, would you care to join me for a walk in the gardens?
It would be my honor, Governor.
Right this way.
Chiron gives like a little nod to Wiswick, like, "Yeah, he picked me."
Wiswick is unfazed.
Yeah, Wiswick is imagining all the spell components he's gonna buy. He takes you out to the garden area and walks. For a while, you're walking quite quietly and slowly through until he leads you towards the back, where you can kind of look up and you see your sanctuary in the outdoor balcony. And he leads you out to where there's this small pool of water that's reflecting the moonlight above and the stars. It's a very nice, clear night. In the center of the pool is a small bird bath that has these little humanoid pillars all around it that you would recognize from your time in Sumerlinden as the conservator gods. And you can notice just like generally around there are just sort of accoutrement of the conservator gods that seem like they're new to the space. Like the Endurance were like, we here in the Empire, they still worship the whole pantheon.
Right.
So let's bring some old shit from the other estates in here and see if it makes him happy. But he's staring at the moon. See, you've told me much about your crusade, your quest, your mission. But tell me, what will you find in the fields of glass?
Standing next to him, with his arm, like the staff is like leaning up against his armpit, with his hand around it, just casually looking at the moon with Oriel. If my vision is to be believed, I'll meet a dark-furred tabaxi with a staff similar to my own. And he shall be the one to hold a piece of Livanya's moon.
And to what end do you collect these artifacts?
It is to my understanding that once I have all three paired with my original stone given to me by Iluvanya on the day I was chosen, I will finally have the power required to either fight back the Pallid King, or I would hope to take the fight to him. Leave our realm as untouched as possible, unlike during the last conflict. Battle it out in the dead fields of the Feywild against his hordes. With if it's just the five of us or whomever answers the call. Though, I think my imagination's getting the best of me.
And this greater threat, the Harbinger, it is plain to them.
Kieran kind of puts his head down and scratches the back of it as he goes, well, if I'm being honest, I haven't the slightest clue. The Harbinger's been the missing piece. Try as I might, I know... Oh, I think I know what it is. I think I know where to find it. But when I spoke with Hadric, he seemed to think that the Harbinger's work, or the Harbinger himself, was all but done. The machination's still working, but
Adric also believes that he would be victorious in ending divinity.
it's true. But he had
His
all the
very
divinity.
weakness was his he kind of pauses. His very weakness, from what we know, I suppose you've spoken with him, so perhaps you know better, is underestimating his foes.
It's true. The gods did not go down without a fight. And for all his wit and clever plans, even he could not stop them.
I suppose it's one step at a time.
Exactly. Much is unknown to us mortals about the higher planes of existence. Trying to find answers here has led me in circles, to dead ends, to vague responses, and as you know, beseeching the divine. I love my goddess dearly, but I wish for once she would just give me a straight answer.
You will live multiple lifetimes before you get a straight answer from the divine.
Well, I feel like I've already lived two.
Sounds like you will need friends and allies in this long fight ahead of you.
It's true. I have 4 with me now that I know will go to the ends of the world with me. And now turning to Oriel, looking across his shoulder to him, kind of down, I guess, actually. But I could always use more. And a friend such as yourself, if that's what you're offering. Would be quite humbling for me to have.
You see, he doesn't look at you. He looks down from the moon into the pool and at the figures of the conservators. This may be a foolish question, but what about after? Say you succeed. Pallid King is thwarted, whatever he is, and the Harbinger stays off somewhere and beyond, or is never really a threat at all. And our worlds are saved. Do you just go home?
Me personally? I don't know. If I'm being honest, I don't see there being an after for me. Whether I die in this conflict, whether I am changed into something else, or whether I simply ascend afterwards, my mission complete, and I can finally rest. I don't know that there's an after that truly matters for me. All I would hope is that those that I've helped here can go on and make this world better, free from the threat of the Pallid King.
You see, he kind of, bounces a little stone in his hand that he picked up on the walk and kind of just throws it into the water and kind of turns away from you at this. And doesn't go too far away, but just sort of steps over to another artifact. And says, well, I, in the past, have shared such an attitude, though I will not compare a young man to a thrice-born messiah figure.
Please.
I also once believed there was nothing left for me or beyond me after a conflict. And I am here. And I do not wish upon you to see what comes after your sacrifice. I have seen the wickedness in all beings, whether it be war, religion, or land, or power. Without divine influence, I've seen this wickedness, following what I believed was a sacrifice. Pallid King threatens the world. It's hard to make people think of such magnanimity. But beyond that, I beseech you, as a friend, I hope, invested interest in your quest. Do not presume your death. And if you are to die, do not act like that is prophecy. For you will forget what happens after you die.
Then how about this? And Kiran walks around to in front of him and puts out his hand. A promise then, from a friend to a friend. I'll make it through this fight. And I would hope you'll make it through as well, and our friends here. And together, after the threat is done, after we've united the people, we rebuild. As I said, my imagination gets the best of me sometimes, but if we can call our realm to arms against this external threat, if we can unite these people and show them together we are stronger, maybe we can finally make a change in this world. We can stop the tyrants like Kinsley, the mad gods like Hadric. We can finally find a way to bring some semblance of peace. For all things must be balanced. With peace, there is conflict, as I understand. But a semblance of peace, where nations no longer fight over petty land, where innocents are not caught in the middle, where we can just be honest, and the divine can give us their favors, but we do not worship them as the all-knowing, all-powerful gods that we do know. We know better. Oriel. Let's help the others learn.
And he would finally look to you at this and nod. By the life of me, I would hear your words and often think, I've heard the same words from martyrs before, but with this proclamation. Perhaps there is hope then, if we stick together.
Of course. And by that logic, Kieran looks to his right arm. Maybe it's time I fix what the gods tried to take away from me.
In which such things I can help you and connect you with those who may be able to provide something. It will not be the same, but perhaps it would be better for it.
I've spent so much of my life assuming, thinking, Ilyvania would provide me with everything I need, but now I see. It's foolhardy. The gods give us some, but the rest we must get ourselves. I'm devoted as ever. He says more to himself than to Oriel. I'm more devoted than ever to my goddess, to Strayus, to the Everflame, to the conservators as well, he says, gesturing to the whatever's around. But it's time. I'm a little more devoted to myself. Thank you. I don't imagine this conversation would go such.
I as well. I am comforted by your commitments. Let's see what we can do about this world.
And with that, Kieran shoves his hand in front of him, hold my hand.
And he'll grasp your hand and he'll put a hand on your shoulder and begin to lead you, help you back to the kitchens and the space and the villa. And I think that's a good place for us to take a quick break. And when we come back, we will check in with Scarlet and Timber. All right, folks, stick around with us. We'll be back in 5 minutes to continue the RP tonight and the fun adventures. See you soon. welcome back, everybody.
Back,
To-
everybody.
Advantage in Paradise.
You got it.
There we go. I literally cannot trust any of them except for I can only trust my own eyes when it comes to whether or not we're live.
Yeah, Shannon, he can't trust you either.
Welcome back, everybody. We return post supper as Curon has had a heart-to-heart with Oriel out in the gardens, discussing the journey that Curon is on, and also the fates of Curon and Oriel, and what it means to be a martyr. Inside, Wiswick daydreams about buying all the spell components and writing in all the spells into his book, but also curious about these auction houses. Scarlet, being somewhat overwhelmed by the events of the day, but also the investments of Oriel, has retired back to her room, struggling a little bit. Timber has departed from the group shortly after, potentially with the intentions of checking in on Scarlet. But before we jump to Timber, I'll say this is happening concurrently with the last few moments of what we just RP'd. Scarlet, you rush back to your room. What do you do?
I burst into the room and just slam the door, and then just kind of and put my back against it and just start breathing really heavy. There's a tightness in my chest, and I'm just trying to breathe through it, but it's not going away. I like to imagine that there's like a bench or a big window with like a window seat.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm just gonna go sit there and curl up into a very tight ball and kind of rock back and forth a little bit and just kind of like muttering to myself, I can't do this. Can't do this. No. And just kind of repeat that.
Okay. Overwhelmed by the magnanimity of, I've used that word a lot tonight. Overwhelmed by the vastness of what is before you and the reality of Euron's quest, of everything in your life. The effects have worn off by now, but having relived everything in the last 6 months in your mind, all those thoughts rushing around all at once has just bubbled all of this anxiety up. How long do you do this for?
A while.
Okay.
A
That's
long
all I
time.
need to hear.
Yep.
Timber, what are you doing?
Scarlet, you didn't finish your food.
Doesn't answer you.
Scarlet, are you changing? Did you take a bath?
She doesn't answer you.
Put my ear against the wall. The door.
What would he hear, Scarlet? Given that he's rolled a decent perception check.
Really fast breathing and just like broken phrases, just like, what am I doing? I've done terrible things. I'm a murderer. This is not, no, I can't do this. And just things like that.
Timber's gonna stand at the door and just one swift punch, just punch the lock on the door and then just slowly swing it open.
I
But
unlock
stand.
So you hear the doors slamming open. I imagine you whip around. You see Timber standing in the doorway.
Scarlet, what are you doing?
I can't do this, Timber. This
Okay. Come here.
no, this is too much. I am a murderer. I don't know what accent that was. I'm a murderer. I've done terrible things, and people are expecting me to save the world.
Scarlet, I
No.
just murdered a lot
No.
of people. Too.
And I've done it before, and
Doesn't make it any better.
this isn't this.
Look. Timber closes the door behind him. Sits on her bed, with
I
her
can't
plate
do
of food,
this.
eating her food and some extra food. Here, have a piece of chicken. Come here.
No,
Okay.
no, I'm not hungry.
All right.
and
Are you
just-
thirsty?
No.
Look,
Are you listening to
I
me?
am listening. I want you to calm down.
I am not destined to save the world. I'm destined to ruin it or burn it down.
No, you are destined to atone for your sins by saving the world.
No, I don't care what everyone is saying about you can make changes for the future. That doesn't change the fact that what I've done in the past. It doesn't change the fact that it's coming to get me. There are people who know what I've done, and they're right.
So, are you just going to let them get you?
I don't know. It seems like the honorable thing to do.
To just give up? Is that honorable?
It seems like it's what I deserve.
That's what I was thinking 2 days ago. You're going to just throw your life away. You might as well throw your life towards a good purpose.
I'm not what everyone thinks I am. I'm not a hero. Everyone
Look,
keeps
we
saying
don't-
we're chosen, or
It's actually just Kieran saying that we're chosen. He can believe what he wants. I believe
you
we're
heard
just...
what Oriel was saying down there.
I did.
He gave us more golds than I've ever seen in my life. To do what? I don't even know what to do with all of
To
that.
throw our lives away. But to a good cause.
Why do we have to be the ones to do it?
Because of
What
we've-
makes us so special?
We're not. Like I said before, we were
We're
exiled
not.
from our previous lives. Whether it be from our own decisions or exiling ourselves or being exiled from due to our situation, from where we came from. Either way, we're not welcome back to our past. So, have a piece of chicken. Oh, and some booze. That helps me.
No. I don't know if I can go, Timber. I'm not a good person. Good people don't get to do things like this.
Oh. No, good people get to be like... Well, the good governor is a good person, but just sit on their throne and not have to deal with a ton of... What's the word? I'm not good at this, Scarlet. Look, I just came to check on you and just tell you that you are a good person. You might not be because of some actions you've done in your past, but that is you were made that way from your environment. You made decisions at the time because it seemed right. You were desperate to get your brother back. You were led astray and going down this other path.
I shouldn't have been. I made him a promise, and I should have kept it. And now, apparently I've made a promise to save the world. If I can't protect my family, what good am I to the world?
Well, wow. This seems very...
It should be someone else, Timber. It shouldn't be me.
So, I'll tell you this. I have had the same thoughts. And, there's no good throwing your life away. That is my conclusion that I made at the end of this. And the reason why is because Reina would be pissed at me. I lost her. I lost my kids. I haven't seen them in forever. I just murdered a bunch of people back there because I have a demon wolf inside of me. Do I want to keep existing? No. Because all I do is hurt more people. But there's that little voice inside my head that Reina just says, just get up off the floor and help. So, what are you going to do?
I don't know. I don't feel like I'm good enough for this.
Well, Kieran chose you. Whether or not you are, he wants you there. Do you care about Kieran?
Of course I do.
He cares about you. Let's do this for him. Whether we think we're saving the world or not. He is a good person. Let's follow in his footsteps. Here, I'm going to leave this here for you. The flask. You may want it. Think about more. And I'm gonna leave the food too. And Timber's gonna get up and leave the room.
Sit back at the window. I think I'll bring the cup with me. But I'll just put it down next to me. I'll just have it there just so I know that it's there.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else had plans, but if I don't know what the Curon situation is at this point in time, but when Scarlet looks outside of the window, she might see Wiswick out there. He stepped out after making some plans, and he's wearing different clothes. Like he must have ran upstairs and got some different dreads on, and it looks like he's leaving.
I would say, Scarlet, I imagine you stay by the windows for quite a while. When you first go out there, you would notice Clay and Huron talking by the fountain. And perhaps that's more triggering, or perhaps you're so preoccupied that you wouldn't even notice. But the longer you stay out there, perhaps slowly but surely you may feel your breath come back to you, though you would still feel the weight. You would notice Wiswick scampering off.
Did I have a chance to run into Oriel and Kieran at some point, or did I miss them?
I'd say no, you probably would have missed them.
Okay.
Wiswick, where are you running off to?
A bar.
All right. Yeah, I'd say you could easily run off towards which street was it? You could run out to the Blythe and go to Gold Terrace, where you would notice the cobblestones and flags and tapestries have yellows and golds, other different colors. You would notice the street is quite merry at this hour. There are a lot of people enjoying their evening here. And you could go to any number of taverns that you would find. You're looking for a particular one that's bustling, one that's empty, one that's...
I think I want
Hole in
loud
the
and
wall?
boisterous.
Okay.
I'm not gonna go too far into it. Pretty much his plan when he first set out was, we did it. This is the time when the party usually goes out and celebrates, right? But I can't bring Kieran. He's talking with the governor, and he's usually a stick in the mud anyway. And Cal's not here, and Timber's consoling Scarlet. So I guess I'm gonna have to have enough fun for all of them. And he heads out, and he tries to find a big bustling bar, and he orders a few drinks with it for himself, and he sings along with whatever performance is going on in the thing and tries to be merry. But he doesn't talk to people. He just tries to blend in with the crowd, and after a while he feels out of place, and he sits in the corner of the bar and continues drinking by himself.
Absolutely. I would say you would arrive at, you'd be walking down Gold Terrace, and you would find several different open pubs and taverns and public houses, all sorts. You would find one called the Brass Shepherd that looks the most boisterous. And go inside, and there's rowdiness, there's merriment. It's, the last days of warm weather in Honduras, so folks are outside. There's lights. There's a few sprays of magic and singing and happiness and joy, despite everything your party is experiencing, despite that hundreds of miles north, people are still dying. And the ale and whiskey leaves a bitter taste in your mouth by the end of the night.
If nobody comes up to me the whole night, and I'm just wallowing in a little bit of sadness towards the end, I think Wiswick is going to cast Scrying drunkenly.
Ooh. I've never explored the drunk scry. That's a whole new...
You guys up?
Yeah!
I play a wizard. I might have to think about this.
Honestly, I didn't have a plan for this. I'm drunkenly scrying this drunken scry.
But that's D&D.
Yep.
All right. Who are you scrying on?
I'm gonna scry on. Hold on, let me think. I gotta find the perfect person.
I already know who you should scry on, but I don't want to say it.
This is so like.
Oh yeah, Lord
someone
Hands.
See, now you guys are making me think of other options of what. That's not what I was thinking.
This is like someone like looking through their like Facebook friends when they're drunk and like, who am I gonna iMessage tonight?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Some debauchery on the internet is essentially what Wiswick's doing.
Look too far back in your Facebook pictures and now you're sad.
Okay, I think I'm going to settle on scrying on I don't know if I want to go with his father or his sister. It's a very close choice. But I think I'm gonna go with Wiswick's sister that was very rarely mentioned.
Okay.
Should have been McClear.
Good old Fizri
I
Ambior when Yelk
also
Clopper
thought it was gonna be McClear. I also thought it was gonna be McClear.
I was hoping it was Toira from Brackland Glen.
Toira! And you know what would have happened? He'd scry Toira, and she's right behind him.
Damn it, you guys have better ideas.
I was expecting like the scry camera, quote unquote, to be like looking at like an empty table, and then her like she's popping up like looking at the camera directly.
Exactly. Oh my god.
So I mean, should I give a quick reminder, Sean?
Of
who this is?
No, I'm on your sheet.
Okay, cool.
I'm on your sheet with you. I have gotten very quick at pulling up people's documented backstories in this campaign, especially you.
Did I Scarlet? Did I scar you that one time?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. And I was like, "Who's that?" And I was like, "Oh, that's his brother-in-law."
Oh, yeah, I remember.
You were like, yeah, or no, I think I said that I forgot your father's name, and I thought when you said your father's name, I thought it was your brother-in-law, and I was like, I have to have these open and ready at all times. I need to print out dossiers on each of you.
That's all right. Keep stalling. It's fine.
Don't worry, I found her. I found Fizri. Right. That's the only living sister you have right now.
Correct.
Well,
Sisters.
Well, yeah, that's your aunt. But anyway, yeah, Wiswick has like 9 family members. Okay.
That I never talk about or speak to.
Other than Uncle Owen. All right. What is the spell DC with all, and what are the modifiers from?
Oh
from
shit.
Friday?
Okay, hold on.
I believe she has like a significant negative modifier because it's your sister. You know her fully.
All right, so familiar. I know the target well. That's a -5 to the save modifier. And I don't have. I guess I don't have any possessions of hers,
Yeah.
but I probably can make a likeness or a picture simply.
Yeah,
by
I
just
would.
my
I would
memory.
allow for her to have a -7. And what kind of? It's a wisdom save. All right, what's your DC? Your typical. DC,
That would
is
be
it-
an 18.
Is it an 18 or is it a 19 with the?
I think it's 18.
Okay, cool.
I don't think 19. I think it was 17, and it goes up to.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, she rolled. Technically, with the negative modifier, she rolled a 0.
Awesome.
So, Wiswick, you drunkenly scry on your sister. Where's her full name? Your sister, Fizri Anbi Arwen Yelk Ploperis Darius Netherrock. And what you would see, it's very late in the night. She's sleeping. That's what you would see at first.
I already have questions. Night? Is she not
Yes.
in the Underdark?
No, she's not in the Underdark. That's the first thing that's first clue that to this is that she is not in the Underdark, and that she is and I'd say you'd even surmise that she has probably not been in the Underdark for a little while, because she's adopting the day-night cycle. The last you'd heard of Fizri is that she was looking for you. Or at least was interested in looking for you. Or concerned about your whereabouts. It's hard
This
to
was
tell where she
Uncle
is.
Oic that said this, right?
Correct, yes. He said that she was worried about you and that she was planning to look for you, or wanted to look for you at least. It's hard to tell where she is. The only clues are that it is snowing out, and that she has a campsite, essentially. Like, she's traveling. You see tall pine trees covered in snow. She's dug out her own little campsite. She's got the same kind of tent you had when you first stepped out into the frozen north at the end of last year's winter, following your footsteps. And she's just asleep.
I turn the camera around and I start looking for anything, any clues, if there's anybody there. You know, I'm not too worried about where she is specifically. I'm more concerned about her safety. So I'm listening for people's voices. I'm listening for things outside. I'm looking for any, documents or stuff she might have left out that might tell me more about what she's doing.
Yeah, give me a perception check. With disadvantage, because you're drunk.
You sure it's not an investigation check?
I'd allow for investigation as well.
Oh, thank God.
But it's still a disadvantage because you're drunk.
Oh, I have to roll twice because I rolled once without advantage.
Just imagining if someone had true seeing while this like drunken scrying eye is like just like sort of like slowly like sort of trying to move around in this drunken fashion.
So I got a 13 lowest, which turns out to be a 22.
Okay. Even with a 22, it's quite hard to determine where she is. What I'd say is at least you can, through process of elimination, identify that she is likely north of the Ulstamere Lake. Meaning she's likely either in Oxlin or Zverwold. Or, no, it'd be much harsher if she was in Scythia. So, from what you can gauge from this and your experience and your cartography, she's likely somewhere in Zverwold or Oxlin. Or northern Tressex at the lowest.
If I had to make a guess, what NPC would be closest to the area where I think she's in? Would it be like Elspeth up north in the woods, or would it be Calra and Oxlin?
The thing that makes this difficult is that a lot of the NPCs y'all know are in Oxlin, Zerwold, or northern Tressex.
Right. So that's fine. You don't need to say anymore. Wiswick just stares at her until the spell runs out. Like, kind of just like zooms in on her face and just sits there, like drinking, and eventually the spell runs out and his eyes turn back to normal, and he sits down and he goes to he starts beginning casting sending on her, and then at the last minute he changes the target and messages Calra and says, I need you to help me. My sister's out there somewhere. Just keep an ear out. Her name is Fizri Anbi Arwin Yelk Plopperus Duris Nether Rock. And then he doesn't even say love Wiswick at the end because I don't think it would fit with the characters and I didn't count. And he's drunk, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Wiswick easily enough as you come out of the scry, and this is like there's only been a few times where you've come out of a scry because it's run out of time. It's usually in emergency situations when you need information, and this time it's very jarring because you aren't ready for it. You are just staring, hoping the moment will last forever, so that you can keep an eye on your sister. And then suddenly what normally you're ready for, you're not ready for, is it's almost a jettison out of the vision, and then an overwhelming return of a cacophony, bar music, shouting, smell of ale, and merriment. And disoriented, you send this message to Kalra, who replies because she's a night owl like you. And you hear she sounds like you didn't wake her up, but maybe she was like had her head on her desk to close her eyes for a few moments. Just, Wiswick. It's good to hear from you again. Another Nether Rock. I would be happy to help you and your family. I will keep an eye out. And keep an ear to the ground for another Zvertneblin in the north.
No response back because I have no spell slots.
Okay.
But I do cast my final spell slot, which I didn't mention because it's at a higher level. But I use it to summon my golem, and I have him take me home.
So Wiswick casts Uber. As his golem is outside and calling him a million times to tell him that he's here. As Wiswick, you scooch your way out of the bar and into the now cold night air.
Yeah, and I imagine this is like a few hours later, and like Wiswick's staying up way late and drinking too much.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. But the golem cradles you in his arms and begins moving back. A few drunks sort of awe and ooh at this marvel moving through the streets. A few people try to hop on. You get a few hop-ons.
You're gonna get hop-ons.
Sean, I'm rolling a Constitution check to see if I remember what I did last night, and it was
Yes,
1.
please. You were blacked out, drunk. You do not remember seeing your sister, and you do not remember sending that sending to Kalra.
This is what I planned. Okay, great. I was like, either way, this is going to be glorious. Like, if I rolled a 20, I would be like fucking shocked in the morning, and if I rolled a 1, this is whatever. I'll be shocked later.
Is there anything else anyone would like to do this evening?
Yeah. If that's kosher.
Of course it is.
So after finishing his conversation with Oriel, Curon returns to the sanctuary that he's prepared in the estate. And thinking to just linger there for a moment, not, just after his discussion with Oriel, he's like, oh, I'll just stop by. He decides to assemble a ritual well known to him to reach out to his blessed Ilyuvania with a nice little commune.
Of course.
Oh, blessed crescent heart, I hope you appreciate the small tribute I've made to you down here in the south of Honduras. The governor has been quite kind in allowing us to stay here and make ourselves at home, and allow the Telwood Hummer that you've graced my people with to now grace his lovely second floor balcony. But I didn't come to talk about my day today, no. I've come to ask again these questions 3 for you to answer me. We do love our rhyming, don't we? First, O Crescentot, I ask, can we
Indubitably.
can we complete our task in the Sea of Glass without our companion Cal?
So, you see the burning smoke of the incense and reagents. You feel the kind of humming. There's almost a humming sense in the air from the Telwood Hummer. The bling. As you see the swirling smoke brushes through you kind of in a breeze.
And a blue triangle says concentrate and ask again.
Yeah, no. It seems like the smoke is being sucked into the villa toward Cal, almost towards where you know the healing rooms are, the halls of healing are. You get a sensation that he is where he needs to be. It almost feels as though Elivania is, through this ritual, tending to his destiny.
Thank you, O Crescentot. Next, I would ask, is there a plane of memories?
As you ask this question, you feel the incense rest. And then you see them kind of come up in swirling tendrils until one or two feel like they dance into your head, your mind. What is what is a memory Kieran does not remember as an adult from his childhood, but is happy?
I'm loving this tonight. We're really challenging each other.
I'd say when he first learned to fish and he did not like it at all, and his grandfather said, "It's okay. If you don't," because Kieran was upset that he was hurting the fish. And his grandfather said, "If you don't want to hurt the fish, you don't have to." And that's when Kieran really went full, almost vegan.
You feel this memory as if it's happening to you in this moment. You see your grandfather, at this time, even in your youth, already quite senior to his old age, but still active and capable of imparting his knowledge to you. Childhood is so brief for elves, and is often forgotten quickly because of how long they live. to the point where it all feels like a blur. But this is crystal clear. It's real. And that's your answer.
Of course. And finally, I ask you, Vanya, do we have time?
You feel the kind of cinders of the incense and the candles flickering with the breeze as some of the candles go out. But some of the candles survive the breeze. To stabilize. And that's your answer.
Thank you, oh blessed. All the help you've given me, I appreciate. And I will continue to turn to you in my times of need. But you're right. With that, he gets up, goes to bed.
Okay. The sanctuary seems to dim somewhat as you leave. So your presence itself seems to invigorate it. These waning small moments with your beloved goddess. The night goes on. As Wiswick's golem brings him back. There's a point when whose room is next to Wiswick's? Timber. I'll say there's a point, Timber, where you're in a peculiar way the most stable person tonight, and eating some and like having you're finishing up what's left of the leftovers you took.
Oh no, I left the food in
Oh, that's right.
Scarlet's room.
You left your flask and you left your food with Scarlet, so you are somewhat without your coping mechanisms. But thankfully, before you get too far into your own head, perhaps you were
reading. I was reading the whole time, or between it fell asleep.
Let's say I want to say you got another 2 hours of reading in before Wiswick returns with his golem, and you hear the fumbling of 3 mini golems trying to move through the hallway as quietly as they possibly can. And if you step out of your room, you would see the 2 of them. Okay, you don't then.
Timber is going to play like he's sleeping.
Yeah. Wiswick, you won't remember any of this, but 2 of the golems are holding you up, while the smart one is checking the rooms because it doesn't know which one's yours.
All of the doorknobs are just on the floors of the hallway.
Luckily for you, of the 4 rooms that you all live in, they got yours first.
Nice.
Although they did open several pantries, and they may have ruined a few pieces of art downstairs, thinking they were doors.
I rolled a 1. I don't remember any of this. This is fine.
Yeah, I'd say you're asleep at this point. You've passed out in the golem's arms. But they carefully tend to make sure that you're not sleeping on your stomach or on your back. Sorry, and they even attempt to acquire some water for you in the morning.
I love not having to use concentration.
Yeah, I know, right? For these guys. Scarlet, what are you doing? I'd say at this point it's around 2 a.m.
I feel like she would have fallen asleep at the window. She would have, thought about what Timber had said, and her breathing would have returned to normal, and she holds the flask. She doesn't drink any of it, but she falls asleep holding it, and when she falls asleep, it spills.
Endlessly. Her room
It's
fills with
your
alcohol.
flask. Oh, I thought it was a cup. Well, sorry.
The house is soaked with alcohol.
Scarlett's room is gonna smell so gross.
Smells so bad.
Stale whiskey is what your room's gonna reek of, with like a.
Yep.
If she
thin
lights a
layer
flame,
of-
she just lights the whole estate on fire.
But Scarlett, you spend some time thinking about this, trying to catch your breath, waiting for the tightness in your chest to pass, and for the world to stop spinning. And it does. It does. It takes some time. And it ebbs and flows. But you find your center again, although it is fragile. You've been on a road for almost a year now, since you left the court. Actually, probably over a year now since you left Gristram. Coming close to when you first met Timber. Saved his daughter. I'm gonna go calculate that after the session, so I know exactly when it happens. But given that we are approaching the midway point of the Long Dark, that would make sense. And do you remember most of this perfect? Well, not perfectly, but better than you did this morning,
Yeah.
because you got your refresher this afternoon.
Yes, I did.
And perhaps you, if you'd like, you could try to meditate. Or is it too much for her at this point?
No, I think if she thought about saving Timber's daughter, I think that would, kind of, it wouldn't drive away all of the negative thoughts, but it would quiet some of them. And then she would start to think about maybe other things that were not murdering and other things that she's done that were good. And then she would remember the conversation that she had with Kieran this afternoon. And I think she would give it a try.
Give me a wisdom saving throw.
Or
Or, yeah, let's say a wisdom saving throw.
wisdom save?
Yeah.
Natural 20. Or 22.
Where there's lows, there's highs.
You remember your mother. No. This is great. So
Sean's like, oh,
Yeah.
crap.
crap, I was prepared to be like, you get sad again. No. The renewed memories of the last 6 months are mingled with grief and joy. In a sense of belonging, a fragile belonging, much like your center right now, but more belonging than you've had in a long time with these people. Kind of rings truest in this. You have not felt this safe with others since years ago. With your old ramshackle, like just rambunctious crew of misfits. And while there may be a sting of pain, you think of Silas in that moment, but you're reminded that there are others that might still be out, alive, hopefully happy, and that you did save that little girl on that day. She would be suffering the same fate as which you can only imagine Reese was going through, maybe. Do you think that if you were around that night, someone like you was around the night they took Reese, maybe you and him would have been saved as well? And it makes you think that maybe you are a good person. 6 months ago, I don't remember what was happening in Quenvala, so I'm not going to go into it. But part of me thinks it might have been the Reese arc. But regardless, you think about that mostly. Timber's family. With what Kieran said and what Timber said today. And you feel a little bit better. And that's what allows you to fall asleep. Spill whiskey all over the floor.
Don't lose that thing. It's been through a lot.
It has. It really has. That's what the
Been
only
through
thing
a
that's gonna
lot of
be. That
trauma.
That is the only thing that's gonna be left at the Wayward Five at the end of this campaign. Is some kid is gonna pick up this flask and be like, I'm gonna go bring this to my friends. We got unlimited booze.
We gotta
But-
etch in the bottom.
But Wiswick's gonna figure out a way to make contingency on that flask, and he's gonna put modified memory, and then that kid's gonna grab it and go, oh!
And literally have all of your mind.
Yeah.
No, he's gonna pick it up off the bottom of a lake and he's gonna start a trilogy. That's my one. But for better or worse, you each wake up the next day. Wiswick, you're hurting.
I feel like I'm hurting, but I got a big smile on my face.
You have one level of exhaustion, I'm gonna say, from the amount that you drank the night before.
Okay. Yeah, he's struggling to get out of bed, but he's kind of like, it's kind of like the thing where you had like a crazy night and you want to tell everybody about it, but like you don't remember what happened, but you don't want to just sit in bed, like you're still like running off of the high from last night, that you want to like keep going even though like your body's saying no.
We'll go with that. After all, Wiswick is what, 16? That sounds right.
Yeah.
Kieran, you've been awake for an hour or two at this point. If you split up your time to have, what's it called in the middle of the night?
Yeah, trance.
Trance, that's what it is. Scarlet, you wake up feeling renewed, but quickly reminded of that weight on your shoulders. That, you know, you've had a hard night before where maybe you had a good cry, and then you woke up the next morning and you forgot about it, but then you immediately remember it and you're like, I don't know how to feel about this. That's how you feel right now.
Perfect. Got it. I know exactly what feeling you're talking about. And then I look and see, oh shit.
And it's and it smells horrible in your room, and it's still pouring out right now. It's still pouring out right now. What do you do with it?
I put it the right way. Oh.
But you all awake. Timber, yeah, the hallway, no, it's so much whiskey pours out over the course of 8 hours that the whole hallway reeks of whiskey. It's coming out from under the door of Scarlett's room.
It's like a waterfall going
This
out
is
of
literally like if you had a faucet
window.
running for 8 hours and there wasn't even a sink under it. It was just pouring out onto the floor.
Timber slams the door open, like just follows his nose and be like, oh shit.
I fell asleep and it fell over. I'm sorry.
That's.
I'd
quite
say
alright.
I'd replace it, but I think it's already replaced itself.
Wiswick's got his hand on his head and he's in the doorway and he's like, "What did we do last night?"
Yeah, Wisbick, the smell of booze in the hallway and seeing them talk about it, you think that at some point in
my
your blackout, they joined you last night.
Right.
Timber
Where did
takes a
you
second
go
and it's like,
last night?
yeah, Viswick, you don't remember doing this?
Also, can you do something about this, please? The smell is getting to me.
The alcohol kind of
Not
throws
you,
up.
not you. I was talking to Wiswick.
I mean, he did do it, so.
The golems are supposed to clean up after me.
And this is when you all noticed the 3 golems in the hallway, because they just stayed separated.
8
after
hours.
Wisbick blacked out. Oh yeah, you're right. Oh no, yeah, they'd be gone by now.
Well, let's get out of the smell. Let's go outside. How do you guys
Are
feel
we just
about
gonna leave this here?
Yeah, alcohol dries up.
I
pretty
don't
quickly.
think that's polite.
If we could tell somebody,
Well, we can't exactly.
Can't you do something, Wiswick? You
but
do
it's
your-
gonna take so
magic.
long. I cast prestidigitation once and I clear a 5-foot square and then it just
You
like
see
all like
more
sinks back
sinks in, yeah. It's like when you put one paper towel over a spill and it's useless.
Yeah.
I'll go get the mop and bucket.
Ugh.
Kieran puts his staff up against the wall and goes off to find someone to get a mop and bucket.
You were able to find someone to help clean it. For tonight, we have just enough time for you to start one of 2 things for your day. You can go to the auction houses, if that's what you want to do first, or you can maybe go check in with Raphael.
Oh shit.
Oh.
No.
No.
Come
Roll
on,
for it,
we can
roll
do the
for it,
auction
let's roll for
later.
Let's roll for it.
I was gonna
Would
say,
you roll?
depending
10.
on what we get from Raphael, might inspire us when we're at the auction house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, do you want to decide on Raphael here?
I got 2 votes Raphael, 1 vote undecided, 1 vote auction house right now.
I don't care. I will go where the party goes. So I guess we're going
Sounds
to
like we
Raphael's.
got Raphael's.
Yes.
We still have to clean up a little. And Kieran's like trying to mop one-handed.
Yeah, I'm not leaving until it's.
Yeah,
it's
got it,
clean.
Kieran,
Hold on.
stop.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
So
pity the
you
one-handed man.
you all spend the morning
Mage hand
mopping
slap.
up whiskey. You spend a good amount of time, and it's manual. There's no magic. It's just
I should
almost
have prepared destroy water.
Can I get a
Ooh,
little
bit of,
guidance?
like pure
Kieran?
alcohol, like just a little bit of pure alcohol on the ground. No, it takes
Mopping
you about maybe
guidance.
maybe about a together. If you all work together, it'll take you about a half hour.
Together, we can do anything.
We're gonna
It's your
save
first
the
step
world.
towards saving the world is mopping up whiskey together. But you head out into the streets. Wiswick, the sun is nauseating, even with it being eclipsed, it's still
toast.
nauseating. And it is a Tulvasdag. Early morning, you see folks heading off towards work. Their different jobs, artisanal crafts, whatnot. You make your way to Green Street, where you can see they are fairly empty. There's not a lot of folks there because it's early in the morning. You can head on in and ask for Raphael. You
I do so.
You see one of the many staffers, and being the guy, all right, I'll go get the boss. And Raphael would slowly inch out with his staff as well, his walking stick. Ah, back so soon.
Yeah, just gonna finish up the deal. Remember, you mentioned to come
Nice.
back the next day so I could take a look at Maximilian's spell book or something
That's
like that, right?
That's right. I did promise you some supervised time with the texts. I'm happy to offer it to you. It was rather slow in the morning, so it is definitely something we can do.
Great, that's awesome. Do you mind if I summon my golem? He's very good at memorizing things, and I think he'll be of assistance. I'm kind of out of it. I had a long night.
I can smell it on you. I can smell it on all of you.
That's kind of a different story. We had a little bit of an accident and needed to clean up.
No judgments from me, of course, but absolutely.
Probably
As
shouldn't
long
be.
unless I notice something uncouth, the golem is absolutely allowed to assist you in your readings. Under my supervision, of course.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Let's do it.
All right, right this way. Is there anything I can do for the rest of you while you're waiting?
I had left some boots with you to research, and I don't expect them to be fully researched yet. I do think I left out a few things that might be of keen note to help you. One is that there is there's a link between the chromatic hinterlands and lay sanctums of Gwyn Engineering. There was a lay sanctum there that exploded, as lay sanctums have wanted to do, and they tried to cover it up with some kind of fortification.
I've heard of such things, such fortifications. There's not much word about it. Since, as you might know, few return from the hinterlands, if any.
Yes. So I just thought to mention that to aid you in your research.
I will gladly relay this to my researchers. They are hard at work. Most of their work will be done today, of course, because you did give this to me late yesterday.
Of course, I understand. I don't expect immediate results. Just the best that you can do.
I would say that it will take at least another 24 hours. They will do the majority of the research today, but they may have to wait for analysis and results for tomorrow.
Of course. Thank you, sir.
Of course, and stick around.
Stay a while.
Stay a while. For I may have some work for you after I speak with your friend here and look at the texts. If you need any assistance, ask my geniuses. I'll go and there's plenty of great breakfast places over on Gold Terrace. But this may take a while, depending on how fast the lad can read.
It's more the golem that you should be worried about. What do you say, gang? Should we go eat while Wiswick does his thing?
That sounds delicious, but I would like to just sit and read.
Okay, Scarlet, do you want to just sit and read?
No, I'll go get something to eat with you if you want.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Save me a bagel.
It's gonna take Wiswick about 2 hours to spend his time in there. Wiswick's gonna get 2 rolls to determine 2 essentially spell scrolls he acquires.
Oh boy.
Wiswick, when you're led into the back room, you're led into this space where they have this this setup. They essentially have like a I don't know the exact names for these, but they are these special stands that archives have to read like fragile texts.
Yep, I get what you mean.
Yeah, and
It's like a little dais.
exactly, yeah. And you're able to. He takes out the text, and you can see there are a few different texts. There's scrolls. There is this book because Maximilian is not like an ancient wizard. He's no longer with us. But any named spell, the wizard is more contemporary than one might think because they named their freaking spell after themselves. So likely, judging by what you know of Maximilian and from these texts, these are probably at least 200 years old, around there. That he was operating in a very different time from now, but definitely not super antiquity or anything like that.
Makes sense.
So what I'll ask you to do, because I do have a spell list here, that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
I
Let's.
don't have that on D&D Beyond.
Yeah, I was about to say, just roll a d10.
Okay. And if I roll a 0, I re-roll?
Exactly.
Do I roll 2 d10s or 1?
Isn't it 0 10?
Yeah, but I don't have a 10 option. I only have 9.
Oh,
options.
so you're doing 1 through 9. Oh.
Yeah.
No, just roll 1.
Okay, rolling 1. 6.
6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll give you the description of this spell in the next session, which the golem has memorized for you to transcribe later. Maximilian's Titan's Grip.
Like Titan with the G or Titan?
Titan.
Okay, that makes way better. More sense. Cool.
It's not how I was going to spell it.
Titan's Grip.
Titan's Grip? Got it.
Titan.
Well, I thought Titans, like Titan's the grip.
Like Titan.
Oh,
Yeah.
No. Now it makes sense. I was like, how do you miss? I was like, wait, did you think I said Tiger's Grip?
No.
All right.
No.
What I'll have you do now is roll another d10. If you roll a 6 or a 10, re-roll.
Okay. Uno.
You learn Maximilian's Earthen Clap.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
I see the theme you're going with here.
If you have any, at this point, he's saying like, it's all right now. It is time for you to stop. Your
Just one more,
research.
please. One more.
Do you have anything to offer?
I have so much
Classic
money.
video game where it's like, hey, do you want to spend some of your resources to get one more try?
I'm also. It's 2 hours,
How,
right?
how much gold for
Trust
one?
me.
How much gold for another go?
You see, he's kind of taken aback by it, and he's like, looking. He's like he's usually like trades for these sorts of things, and he's like, given the value of these spells, I would say one more hour of research costs you. $1,800 gold pieces.
How much? What level are the spells that I've already learned?
Okay. Maximilian's Earthen Clap is a 6th level spell. Maximilian's Titan's Grip is actually also a 6th level spell.
I'm gonna pass.
Okay.
Sorry, it's a little too steep for me. I've got to prioritize my things. Maybe another time.
Well, the texts will be here. We keep them well preserved. If you come back with more to trade or gold, we will happily allow you more research time. You have to
Thanks for
understand,
everything.
we don't actually make that much money off of our community programs.
Yeah, but you get donators. Like, don't you have some alumni or something that some program that like people will give you gold for thanking you for all the effort you put in and teaching them stuff?
There's like nobody actually does that. They never give money back. Why would
Well,
they
you
do
gotta
that?
put in the legwork. You gotta have your lower
Timber,
level people call.
you
Just
get
get
another
those
hour of
messages
pay.
out.
If you wish to spend it that way.
Yeah.
Oh man, I just like wanna. We got some really cool. Yeah, there's some normal spells. There's some non-homebrew spells in here as well. There are 5 homebrew spells and 4 normal D&D spells in here. The 5 homebrews are all Maximilian named. But you got Maximilian's Earthen Clap and Maximilian's Titan's Grip. So
Thank
I
you
will
so much.
I will input those into D&D Beyond for you so that you can research those. They are both 6th level spells.
Perfect. Thank you so much. This is awesome.
All right. Scarlet and Kieran, you enjoy some nice breakfast.
Sean, tell us what it is, Sean.
Yeah. Give me a fucking
Yeah.
second. I have to find so many meals tonight and this weekend. You missed it, Alex, but the other night in the home game, I was describing a lot of food.
Oh, good.
Yeah. lot of food.
Remember
Shannon wouldn't eat
Kieran's penchant for sweets when looking for breakfast treats.
Seems we've gone all rhymey.
My snake likes.
Shannon, roll me a d20.
Yep, knew that was coming.
Why do you think I brought up
straight,
sweets?
Straight D20.
Kieran,
Yeah.
Straight d20. Kieran, you can definitely order some Tressian toast at this place. This is like a classic diner. They've got sausage and biscuits. They've got Tressian toast. They've got something called an Endurin omelet.
Do you have something a little more of a lighter fare? My friend and I were just waiting. I already had a hearty breakfast. A pastry of sorts, maybe?
They absolutely here at why did I just commit to giving this place a name? Here at
to the bit, Sean.
Here at the Laughing Egg.
Very funny.
Excellent.
That was a bad yo.
I rolled.
Can we? Is Shannon's out of the group, right?
They
Goodbye.
specialize. They actually specialize in a lovely cinnamon bun. That has a lovely frosting on it as well.
That's a hangover cure if I ever thought of one.
They're actually most well known in this parts on Gold Terrace, the residential tavern and service street of the Rainbow Streets. They are most well known for the Endurin Hangover Burger.
Is that like a bacon, egg, and cheese between cinnamon buns?
It 100% is.
Good.
That is gross and obscene, and I want it.
I want it too.
Scarlett, what'd you roll?
I want a cinnamon bun. 17.
Do you roll a cinnamon? Do you roll a cinnamon bun?
Do I roll a cinnamon bun?
Do you
yes,
order a
yes,
cinnamon
Sean, I roll
bun?
a cinnamon bun. Fuck yeah, I do.
Okay. I'm gonna say because Scarlett absentmindedly orders one, the DC was higher. You know, if Kieran just ordered one.
Snake to come out.
If Kieran just ordered one because Kieran wasn't thinking about it and just wanted something sweet, I'd be like, you can control Lily in that moment. But because you ordered one, and
My actions have consequences. I get it.
you literally get it, and it looks so good. Kieran gets one too, if you want.
This
one.
is going to be delicious.
Cheers, my friend.
Wait.
They're each 5 silver, by the way.
Cool.
Did we get paid yet?
You didn't get paid yet.
I can still afford that. That's okay.
Okay.
Huron covers her.
Aww. You don't have to do that.
I-
I have silver.
No, it's no problem. I ordered my treat.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, you pick them up to go in for that bite. Huron, you get to bite into yours, actually.
Aww.
And
Oh, this is wonderful.
it's warm, too. The cinnamon is
so
delightful.
The cinnamon is just delightful.
Scarlet, you go up to bite into yours, and you don't even get it close enough to your face to actually smell it, even. As you know how the snake comes out of your hand?
Uh-huh.
You're holding it like this.
In my left hand. Yep. And then my bracelet's on my right hand.
Okay, all right.
Oh, no.
I was gonna say
I
it's
see-
you're holding it. Yeah, you
I
see
see
where I'm
what
going.
you're trying to do.
I was holding up the
do,
wrong
I
hand
do.
for you.
That-
Sorry.
Yeah.
You're holding
Yep,
it, and
did
as you're going in to bite it,
Yep.
the face of Lily just comes out of your hand and just completely eats it in one bite.
Ugh.
And you can see like the snake, like the way snakes sort of like choke things down too.
Yeah.
As you
You've
can
left me a bite?
as you can smell the burning sugar of the frosting, as you can see
Ugh.
the little snake tongue sticking out as it just sort of like, and then just sort of looks at you, and then turns,
Lucky you're useful.
and Curon,
No. Oh, no.
you can
You
see
hacked
the
one.
snake
Leave him alone.
kind of like
No.
clearly getting ready to strike.
Huron cast banishment.
We're good.
No. Out, snake! Out of my home! I'll have none of this, you traitor.
We're gonna get kicked out of this diner.
No, he activates the arc glove and uses all 5.
Betrayer of breakfasts.
He word of recall, so he goes right back and just leaves Scarlet. No. He does none of these things, but it would be funny. Instead, he just holds it back and looking between Scarlet and Lily, like,
I
Give me one more roll, Scarlet.
She has a mind of her own.
This one's a much lighter DC. It's only a DC 14.
Uh-huh. Well, I rolled an 11, so.
Quick as lightning. This snake has a really hard time hitting enemies, but precision is when there is sweets involved. So in the future, you should throw sugar on your enemies. But anyway,
Really?
as
delicious.
he sees the snake going, Kieran is just gonna try to stuff the whole thing in his mouth.
Oh no!
Huron, give me a quick dexterity, dexterity of your choice, dexterity skill of your choice.
Alright, I'm just gonna
Oh
roll next.
no!
Would Lily be the lady of the trap?
That was an 18.
Oh, okay. You successfully scarfed down the entire cinnamon bun. As
But then
Lily
does
just
it bite him?
no. Lily misses to grab it, and then you can see kind of pulls back, and you can see the little tongue just sort of like coming out slowly and just like licking Huron's fingers, and then slowly comes back.
Get back! Come here.
Huron, your cheeks are so puffy. You're give me a
Cheek pouches.
Give me a hamster check.
Constitution saving throw.
Oh no! Oh my god!
This is how Stefan.
This is his third death.
That's gonna be a 6 from me.
Scarlet,
A
Huron is
6?
choking. Huron is choking
No!
on these cinnamon buns.
Look what you did, and I give him the Heimlich maneuver.
Give me a medicine check.
I love that this is all happening within the store too.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best part is
Natural
that
20! Natural 20 for 22.
the best part is that this entire time, Timber is just like quietly reading in the lobby of Maximilian's
Yeah.
files.
Was indirectly responsible as having the time of his life.
You're easily able to dislodge the cinnamon bun from Kieran's air pathway.
I am so sorry. Are you okay? I really need to leave her home.
And
What's your name?
Kieran just
What is your
looks-
name? What is your name?
Stares at her with a huge smile on his face and goes, "Scarlet, you just saved my life."
And that's where we're gonna end tonight. That's where we're gonna end tonight as you see stealthily Lily sneaks out of your hand again to eat what he just coughed up. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We had a roller coaster of RP. We went from lore dumps to drama to comedy. It was a
We do
great
it all.
time. We do it all here in Paradise.
We do it all. Okay.
Thank you so
Dave.
much for joining us.
You dumb
we-
dog.
You dumb dog.
Dave, you dumb dog. He's shit in the kitchen again. Oh,
There's
boy.
booze everywhere.
Oh, Dave, did you leave the flasks out again last night? I thought we weren't so drunk.
Our
after the
rugs are
show.
covered in booze. If
Oh,
we light
no,
a candle,
you
it'll all
dumb
go aflame.
dog. Your dumb dog got into the whiskey again, and he's shit all over the carpet.
Oh God, we need Miles to lead the charge against the
We
Pallid
do.
King.
Yeah,
That
we
would
do.
ensure-
It's gonna be,
Let's
it's gonna
go.
be, it's gonna be like last series finale, and you're all gonna be dying to the Pallid King as you just hear in the distance, "What's that over there? Some kind of dumb worm of some sorts? We've got this, Dave."
We got this, Dave.
All right, folks. Upcoming programming. We've got Relaxing in Paradise on Thursday nights, where I do all sorts of crafts and game. You're going to see me spending way too much time in Valheim over the next few weeks, I think, as Stefan knows from last Relaxing in Paradise. We've got the Sean and Shannon Power Hour every Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I grade Scarlet, I grade Shannon on her recall abilities and her note-taking abilities. And sometimes we play games and make bets, and that's how I got this shirt, is that I want to bet against Scarlet to get this lovely
Yep.
Dungeon Glitch shirt.
Yes.
On Tuesday nights, we have the Shadows in the Mist, a new Curse of Strahd game from Jasper's Game Day. It is on episode 6, will be airing tomorrow. It features special materials from Beetle and Grimm, which I believe they're releasing soon.
I think so.
If they haven't, I may have released it today, or it's upcoming. And that is on 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Tuesday. Friday nights, Shannon and I partake in the Scales Above campaign over on Roll for Damage. I play a wizard over there who might have to get into drunk scrying. He's only sad scryed so far. Adding alcohol can only make it better. But that's every Friday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a lot of fun. We got a great crew over there. And upcoming on May 16th, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we've got Clayton's DMing debut on a live stream. He's DM'd
Yep.
before, but that is his DM debut on live for what he's calling the Bay of Skulls one shot. It's going to be over at the Games Tavern channel. It is for a charity stream for the organization No Kid Hungry. It's going to be very exciting. We're going to be playing in it. It's going to be very fun. And we've got plenty of other programming upcoming. Stick around in Paradise for all the fun to come. For now, looking at someone
sorry.
to
Sorry.
rate because our community
Sorry.
manager didn't look someone up.
I'm sorry.
I think we're
Heroes.
going. What?
Better than Heroes.
Better than Heroes? Is that channel?
Are they?
Oh yeah, let's rate them. Yeah,
Do
they've
that,
got Brennan
yeah,
Lee
Power Rangers put
Mulligan.
chat.
Absolutely.
Ooh. Yep.
Very cool. Let's do that. All right, better than heroes. All right, folks,
We
go
can
give
be
them our
heroes.
love. Check out their game. It should be very cool. Join us very soon. Thank you so much for hanging in Paradise. Have a lovely evening. Everyone say goodbye to
Bye
our
to
Bye,
Good night.
friends.
Bye, guys.
Mwah.
And you can drop us out.